Now at 6, breaking news overnight as police investigate after they say a wrong-way driver crashed into the Willamette River. What we know about the incident coming up. Plus,
he was very tough. I will give him a lot of credit.
A 15-year-old boy is recovering in the hospital after he fell more than 50 feet down an embankment. How crews managed to rescue him ahead and later.
This is the first step, and I think a great one that will kind of support us going into free agency.
Free agency for the WNBA begins today, just days after the Portland Fire selected their first 11 players in the expansion draft. We take a closer look at who will be playing for the team's inaugural season and what's next for the Fire coming up as your News at Sunrise starts right now. Good morning, and thank you for joining us on your Monday. I'm China Green.
And I'm Matthew Herchick. Happy to have you with us. I won't be singing Peaches and Herbs this hour since Rod Hill said it was one of his least favorite songs.
But why were you singing it?
Because we are reunited, and it feels so good, Rod.
Yeah, Chris was on vacation, then I was gone. Now we're all
Don't worry,
back.
I was here.
Yeah. Happy Monday to you.
Part of it.
True. Beautiful day coming up. We're starting off with blue skies this morning. A look at our state capitol down in Salem. 46 is the number, and this is really pretty from the Wells Fargo building. Looking at the blue sky and what will be a sunny start to our day eventually. 51 degrees is the early number coming off of the record temperatures that were generally in the upper 70s yesterday. So to the bus stop we go, dress the kids for a warm spring day. 50 out the door, 65 degrees at noon, about 73 when the kids get out of school. And at that point, the temperature is still on the way up. Here's Chris.
Rod, thanks for that. We pick it up with a traffic alert in Corbett and an overnight house fire right now. Heavy damage to a house off of Benfield Loop. Benfield Loop right now is closed near the historic Columbia River Highway. At this point, no impact on the historic Columbia River Highway itself, just east of Corbett High School. Meanwhile, a second traffic alert in Jefferson County, just north of the county line, Wasco County, just north of the Jefferson County line. ODOT reporting a vehicle fire right now has Highway 26 closed at this moment. The freeway drive locally is off to a pretty good start. There's Highway 26 at the Sylvan Hill. Traffic zipping along just fine there. We'll switch gears. It looks like door number 2 will take us down to Tualatin. Banfield. Banfield traffic actually rolling along okay. And as we look at the drive times, guys, you can see we're off to a pretty good start.
Chris, thank you.
Pretty shot of the sun coming up. Good morning. Welcome to today on this Monday morning. We are so glad you started your week with us, and it is good to be home.
Yes, it is good to have you back at home.
Well, here we go. Ready or not, let's do the news. Yeah.
Savannah Guthrie returned to the Today Show this morning. Guthrie stepped away from her role after her mother Nancy disappeared from her home near Tucson 2 months ago. In an interview, Guthrie told Hoda Kotb that it would be difficult to imagine returning to the anchor desk because, quote, it's such a place of joy and lightness, but adds she can't not come back because it's her family. Authorities are still searching for Nancy, and the Guthrie family has offered a $1 million reward for information leading to her recovery. Meanwhile, we are following some breaking news this morning. Portland police are investigating after they say a wrong-way driver drove into the Willamette River. They say the driver was speeding through downtown Portland, driving the wrong way when they tried to do a traffic stop. The car ended up driving through Waterfront Park before crashing into the Willamette. One person was taken to the hospital with unknown injuries, though police did not specify if it was the driver.
5 people were taken to the hospital after a crash on North Columbia Boulevard under the I-5 freeway. Portland police responded just after 8 o'clock last night and found a car on fire. They saw all 5 people are expected to survive, and the cause of the crash is unclear. They ask any witnesses to reach out and share what they know.
We'll take a look at this. A fire burned 2 boats and most of a dock along the Columbia River yesterday. Vancouver Fire responded just before 12:30 to Goble Marina in Rainier before more agencies, including Portland Fire, were called to help. No injuries were reported, and the cause of the fire is under investigation.
First responders rescued a person from the Columbia River near Philida after their boat capsized yesterday. First responders were told that the boater had been in the water for about an hour and a half holding onto a log. With the help of multiple agencies, a rescue boat found the boater and brought them to dry land. Clark County Fire District is reminding people to wear life jackets on the water.
And this morning, a 15-year-old remains in the hospital after a fall more than 50 feet down an embankment. Officials say it happened near Southeast Stark Street on Saturday afternoon.
KGW's Jake Holter spoke to one of the firefighters who helped rescue that teen.
He was very tough. I will give him a lot of credit.
Dramatic photos shared with us by the Gresham Fire Department of the high-angle rescue of a 15-year-old boy who fell more than 50 feet Saturday afternoon.
They lower with a rope system, a rescuer and a Stokes basket down over the side of the cliff. We were able to get to him and bring them down directly on top of us, basically. And then we load the patient into that Stokes basket, make sure they're secure, and then raise them back up over the cliff.
Fire Captain Travis Souls, along with fellow firefighter Mike, reached the boy by water and climbed up into the wooded area to reach him. So this is about as close as we can get to show you, but if you look here, the tree line across from this stretch of sand along the Sandy River is where firefighters were able to rescue the boy.
We basically used his description. He was actually, the patient was the caller, from what I understand, and his cell phone location. We were able to pinpoint and kind of get an idea of where he was at.
The fall from along Southeast Stark Street between Southeast 35th Street and Southeast Kerrs Lake Road in Troutdale. Souls says he wasn't visible from either the road or the water, hidden deep in the trees.
He did a lot to help with the success of his rescue. He was fortunate that he didn't get knocked unconscious and that he had his cell phone with him.
Souls says he had multiple injuries, but he was stable and conscious last he heard. The boy in the hospital now, but Souls emphasizing just how courageous he was.
He was very brave, he was very strong. He kept a good sense of humor through the whole thing, and that's to his credit. And he was really lucky.
Jake Holter, KGW News.
So we are getting closer and closer to the return of women's basketball here in Portland.
On Friday, the Portland expansion team, the Fire, picked 11 players in the WNBA's expansion draft. Sunrise reporter joins us live this morning. Thomas, all right, so who's on the new squad now?
Yeah, well, guys, they finally have some players for the Fire, and joining them is a star. Bridget Carlton coming to Portland from the Minnesota Lynx, and she's a vet, guys. She's been in the league for 8 years. Big thing to know about her game, it's 3 and D. She's a big-time shooter, big-time defender. Carlton hit 39% of her threes and is a plus defender out on the wing. She was one of the best players for the Lynx, who, by the way, were the best team in the Western Conference last season. For the team's second pick, they chose fringe point guard Carla Late from Golden State. She's only 21 years old and has already been a EuroLeague Finals MVP. The front office for the Fire has big goals this year to be competitive right away.
No one has slept since Sunday, but we went through hundreds of scenarios, and honestly today went better than any one of us expected. We are excited. Out of all the scenarios in mock-up draft that we were best case scenario, worst case scenarios, this was the best one yet.
And look, even though the expansion draft is done, next thing up for the Fire, free agency begins today. Those free agents can sign a contract for the first time on the 11th. The rookie draft will take place on the 13th. The Fire have 3 picks in that one. And it's not just the Portland Fire that are kicking off their offseason, setting up their team. The Blazers are winding down their regular season. Now here's what we know. So far we do know the Blazers, big comeback this season. They're going to the playoffs this year. We know they're going to have at least one home game in the playoffs as they try to grapple into a top 8 spot. We also know that coming up tonight, guys, they're going down to Denver, taking on the pesky Nuggets team that's had their number for years now. The Blazers haven't won in Denver since 2016. We'll see if they can change that tonight. Matthew, China.
Yeah, only a handful of games left, Thomas. All right, thank you very much. And speaking of women hoops, the UCLA women's basketball team took down South Carolina in yesterday's NCAA championship game. The Bruins routed the Gamecocks to earn the school's first women's basketball title. Every starter for UCLA scored in double figures, and all the points scored in the game were scored by seniors, helping them cruise to a 79-51 win. This is only the second time a Big Ten school has taken home the championship for women's basketball, and For South Carolina, they become the first school to lose back-to-back championship games by 20 or more points.
And while the Bruins are celebrating on the women's side, the men's championship will be crowned later this evening. UConn and Michigan will face off the men's title game tonight in Indianapolis. Michigan is heavily favored, coming off a blowout win against Arizona in the Final Four round. However, if UConn pulls off the upset, it will be the third title in 4 years. Tip-off is at 5:50.
The game yesterday was Huskies.
The game yesterday was
not good.
Boring. My Atlanta. It was just like background music.
Never close. I have bad feeling about how this game's going to go for me and my Ohioans. We're not going to be fans of how this one's going to play out tonight.
Michigan has just been
just rolling.
A wrecking
They are.
ball.
I don't think it's going to be close.
I can't imagine it's going to be close. Here's a look at our Astoria column camera up in Astoria. You can see the blue sky and, of course, the artwork on the column all lit up. So beautiful start to the day for you folks up along the north coast. 45 is the early morning number. Here's looking at Mount Hood from the top of the Wells Fargo building in Portland. So we are awaiting the rising sun later in this hour, and it's going to be another beautiful, sunny, warm day. Temperatures outside right now, 44 in Scappoose, some battleground, about as cool as anybody is so far. It's 46 in Salem. It's 50 up in Canby this morning, coming off of the record temperatures in the upper 70s yesterday. PDX hit 79 yesterday, by the way. Obviously, easily the warmest day of 2026 so far. This afternoon, this shows generally mid-70s at 5 o'clock from Portland down to Albany, 77 Eugene, 50s and 60s at the coast, but all inland areas will be warm. 73 in Bend and right about 70 from Burns up through LeGrand this afternoon. Shows Pendleton at 75. So obviously no weather related issues for travel today. It's going to be a piece of cake. 76 today. There's a cool front that comes in overnight tonight. It's going to drop us back down closer to normal. So tomorrow, 62. Could be some cloudiness in the morning, and I am including in the forecast at least a shower threat at some point this evening overnight as that exchange of air masses takes place. But the weather models say we stay dry, so we'll see. I've got shower chances building on Friday into Saturday, and then a likely rainy Sunday at this point on a Monday. That is your forecast.
Thank you, Rob.